So now the last part of our equation is going to be adding our fulvic acid extract. Now you see that nice, pretty amber color that we got in there? That's what your fulvic acid extract should look like. So what I like to tell everybody, you got to have a pH meter in order to do a lot of these things that I'm doing out here. So people ask me, how do I know what I'm talking about when it comes to the pH that I'm adding into the soil and the pH of my solutions? Well, got a pH meter right here. So what I'm gonna do here, just take some of my compost, take a handful of our bone meal there, throw it in there, and we're just gonna kind of give the soil a little update before we put in. Same thing, we're gonna not just put as much nitrogen in there. Really don't need the nitrogen as much right now. And then we're just gonna mix all of that up. And then we're gonna take that and we're gonna top off our beds with it. It's that fresh compost on the top. See, it's not much different than what we already had in there, just a little darker. Just mix that in the topsoil there. Mix that in with it. Do the same thing on this one here. Just mix it into the topsoil. All right, now that we got all of our compost in, got our soil amended, we didn't want to put too much in there this time of the year because we don't want to stimulate a whole lot of green growth. We'll do that again in the spring. So we just gave them a little hint of our bone meal just to get those bulbs going really good since we did disrupt them. But we got 7 days of good weather that's happening right here in Georgia Zone 8A. So we're gonna start with this baby here. We're gonna put her in the center. We're gonna go 4 inches down is where we want that bulb at. See, we got that tip coming through. Same thing with these. Right around this little soil area here, 4 inches down. We want to put those in there. Get those roots down up in there. And we want to do them no more than 6 inches apart. And I'm gonna just say my hand length, and that gives it to where they're not taking nutrients from each other. Again, so that's going to be about that deep. Keep it at that 4 inches. And that's to keep that bulb insulated when that freeze comes back through. We're not worried about the greens because the greens will grow back. But those are like our solar panels. In the springtime, when that sun hits them, you want as much green as there as possible. And what I'll do in the springtime is I'll come back and I give them a liquid feed of my fish hydrolysis as well as my fulvic acid extract. And then we'll put another one right here. Again, we always want our elephant garlic at least 4 inches into the soil. And then we'll get one more right here. And you just go down and just give them a quick little cover over. There. And we'll put her down about right there to let the tips come out. This one's gonna be buried, so we're gonna put it under the soil since it's not quite 4 inches yet. You want that nice fluffy soil when you're doing your garlic. That's why I like doing it like this. And this is mycorrhizal fungi. This helps extend those roots. Try to get it as close to the base of the plant. You don't need a lot. But they just need to touch the roots. And like I said, we'll come back in springtime because the winter's gonna knock these down again. And we'll get them a burst of our fish hydrolysis as well as our fulvic acid extract. And that's gonna get them to jumping for the spring. And of course, the more leaf that we have on there, the better that is. These are those solar panels that makes those bulbs large. So if you're not getting any large leaves off your garlic, then know that the bulbs are not gonna be as large. So the larger those leaves are, the more photosynthesis the plant's gonna take in, the more those bulbs are gonna absorb those nutrients, and the larger those bulbs are gonna be. The mycorrhiza that we just added in there feeds the plants. You see all of that white stuff right there? Those spider web-like hyphae? That's our mycelium, but the fungi that's breaking down these wood chips are called saprophytic fungi. This is cypress mulch. So what I'm doing is just insulating our elephant garlic so when that cold comes back, the bulbs are protected. Now you see that nice, pretty amber color that we got in there? That's what your fulvic acid extract should look like. So what I like to tell everybody, you gotta have a pH meter in order to do a lot of these things that I'm doing out here. So people ask me, how do I know what I'm talking about when it comes to the pH that I'm adding into the soil and the pH of my solutions? Well, got a pH meter right here. So what we're gonna do first is we're gonna test the pH of our tap water. So I'm gonna fill this 1.5 gallon container here up. Now you should be using a dechlorinated water. So you can let this sit out for like 24 to 48 hours. But right now, I just want to show you how I mix my fulvic acid extract. All right. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to test the pH of our tap water. Now our tap water is going to be alkaline. So I'm going to say somewhere about 7.5 to an 8 is what your city tap water should be. You can see our pH meter is jumping around right now because we're dealing with the atmosphere, the temperatures outside, as well as the probe itself. So we're going to take that down to our tap water and we're going to see where our tap water lands at. And like I said, our tap water should be alkaline, which we are, and that's a 7.4, 7.5. We're climbing right there. All right, so we know where our tap water is. What we're going to do now is we're going to test the pH of our fulvic acid extract. Just let you see the difference in the two. So I'm going to rinse this off. And see, that's very acidic. Right now we're at a 4.7. That is too acidic for our garlic. Our garlic likes to be anywhere from a 6.5 to a 7. So they actually like it even closer to that alkaline state. Now what I do on my fulvic acid extract, I'll come right above that line right there. And I know that should bring my fulvic acid extract. We want that anywhere from a 5.5 to a 6.2 in order to go on our garlic or any of our other plants in the garden. Yeah, I think that should be about right. We're gonna pour this into our tap water. Our tap water was alkaline. Our fulvic acid extract is acidic. So what we want to be is between 5.5 and a 6.2. And I need something to mix that up with. I'm gonna just stir that around a little bit and make sure we get a pretty good mix of that solution in there. Like I said, we're looking for anywhere from a 5.5 to a 6.2, and that's gonna be good enough to go on our plants. We need that to get down to about a 6.2. There we go, at our 6.2. So that's our target mark right there. And we may even drop another point. There we go, 6.1. I know a lot of you probably asking, like, when that mycorrhizal fungi was added in here, why didn't I add it directly to the roots? Well, what I'm doing is I'm priming the soil. And what I want to do is, because I disturb the roots in transplanting that garlic, I want to be able to have that garlic to reach out. And once I put this fulvic acid extract in there, it's going to take that mycorrhizal fungi that I just added in here, and it's going to cause it to leach down into the soil, and that's where those roots are going to meet it, and they'll lock on, and that's called chelation. Remember, we put our phosphorus in earlier, and this fulvic acid extract is going to connect with our mycorrhizal fungi, and that's going to allow that phosphorus to be uptaken into the roots. And then that's where the magic starts to happen. You're going to have those roots branch out even deeper into the soil, and that's what's going to cause them to really feed the plants all the nutrients in this garden bed. And I'm going to be showing you guys how to make this fulvic acid extract, but you got to have your pH meter in order for this to work. 2 tablespoons of our hardwood ash. We add 1 cup of our peat moss into a gallon container. We allow that to sit for 48 hours. After 48 hours, we take 1 cup of our white vinegar. We let that white vinegar go in real slow, and we allow that to sit for another 48 hours, and then that's how we come up with our fulvic acid extract. We're going to dilute that according to, we're probably going to be anywhere from 2 tablespoons to a gallon, because it's not a commercial grade fulvic acid extract, but it works perfect for backyard gardens. So to the next video, we're growing out the box over here.